Got Mike Irwin from Pig Trail Nation on the Lewis Automotive Hotline here for a segment on halftime. Mike, a happy Monday to you. Pretty good football game on Saturday. So our whole wonder is, what does that mean moving forward?
You know, I had no idea what to expect with that game. I mean, it was so different from when Petrino came in here in late 2007. And I was surprised. I really thought it would be very hard to do much with that defense. You take, some coaches that had been under some other coaches and then stick them in there and go out and find one guy, from the NFL and then he'd been in the USFL or whatever and bring him in. And I wasn't sure it would work, but it did. I mean, if you had told me that the defense would actually perform better than the offense, I would have been like, you're crazy. But they did. I mean, and I've seen some Arkansas fans say, oh, the defense was bad. Are they crazy? This is one of the best offensive teams in the country that they were playing. Number one in scoring. Arkansas held them to a lower point total than anybody they played this season, 17 points below their scoring average. And you're going to say Arkansas's defense didn't do the job? I mean, Tennessee was 2 of 9 on third down conversions. There were times in the third quarter when Arkansas's offense was struggling that the defense went out there and bailed them out. That game could have really gotten out of control during that third quarter. And as it was, Arkansas had a chance to come back and make it close. So I was totally surprised by what happened with the defense. And I think Petrino afterwards said he gave all the credit to the players. I think you have to give credit to those coaches. And I think you have to give credit to Petrino for knowing where to make the changes and who to plug in there. So I think he gets credit for that. As far as the offense, yeah, it was another bad third quarter, but that's the only quarter where they didn't score. And Petrino explained that and just said, look, we were having such success with the running game that I felt like we had to keep it up, and they made good adjustments, and I was too stubborn to change. And he said, finally, when he started throwing those short passes over the middle, it revived the offense, and it spread to the edge, throwing passes on the edge, and then the running game started working. And they actually outscored Tennessee in the fourth quarter. So when you put all that together, I was stunned, really. I expected it to be much worse.
Hey, Mike, when I think back to the performance of Taylor Green and Mike Washington, I mean, I feel like when you have those two guys on your team, that you have a chance to win just about every game. Kind of talk about those two guys. And I thought Taylor Green got hit a couple times. Man, he got right back up and just that warrior spirit that I thought I saw from Taylor Green.
Yeah, look, he did. He played well. He came back after some struggles in that game. But they've got to get to him and make him understand that he does not have real good peripheral vision. And when he's moving to his left, he doesn't see very well when guys are chasing him. And that's where he has his problem. He's trying to throw the ball and people are right behind him. So I don't know how you correct that, but that's one issue. And then this fumble thing kind of messed it all up. And people are going, well, what's that? What's going on there? Well, to me, it's a simple thing. I don't care if you're a quarterback, a receiver, running back. Anytime you're in the open field, you're going to have that ball under your arm because you can run faster that way. But when defenders surround you, you got to lock it up. You got to wrap up. And that's what they're not doing. Braylon Russell has been very good at that, but you can see on the replay, he had that ball tucked under one arm, and they just knocked it away from him. So I don't know what they do to convince them to stop doing that, but that still is a problem.
See, there's something you just hit on here that I was thinking. I can talk myself out of positivity. Sometimes I can talk myself out of negativity. It's looking at the whole structure of this thing. At the end of the game, I remember looking at Rick and saying during a commercial break, well, it looks like there's something to build off of here. All right, so that's good. But on the other hand, it's the same mistakes that were happening under the previous head coach, which in some cases are some of the same things that were going on before. It's a lot of fumbles in these last 10 years or so. So I can see it both ways here. And so I think basically what a lot of hope right now is built around is that they played hard. So that's the thing I take forward, because right now I don't know if they do fix the fumbles. It's 6 games in, and it's the same problem from last year, Mike.
Well, again, the big question to me, guys, is does he have a shot at this job? And you got people all over the map. You say people saying that he's got to get to a bowl game. The latest that I've heard, and this is coming from a pretty good source, that Lashley, who I think is kind of their number one, the people that are making this decision behind the scenes, I think he was their number one guy. And he's according to what I've told, has told them this is not a good time for him to make that move. And if he said that, it means he's smart, because jumping into the SEC right now, especially at a school like Arkansas, that could end your career long term. You might get a big buyout, but you may end up needing that buyout. And then look at all the jobs there's only the jobs right now that are open: Penn State, Virginia Tech, Oklahoma State, UCLA. That's not a threat, I think, to people they're looking at. But then when you look at possibilities, Florida, Kentucky, Auburn, maybe even Oklahoma, if those come into play, then the people that Arkansas are looking at, suddenly you may not be able to get them. So what we could actually end up with is a situation where if Petrino stabilizes the program, there are no more lopsided losses, and if he does a good sit-down interview at the end of the season and convinces them, hey, here's what I'm going to do about NIL, this is what I'm going to do with my staff, I mean, he might get the job with just a couple of wins, which I think is possible.
Okay, that's a great point. And I think I tend to kind of agree with what you just said right there. Tell me the 2 victories. Tell me the 2 wins that Arkansas give. I mean, who do you like going to Texas? Maybe when's the last time Arkansas has played good at home? We haven't. We've Amber Heard the bed the last 3 years when we play an SEC game at home.
I don't see A&M as one. Again, I could be surprised, but A&M's better than Tennessee. Their defense is just unreal. I mean, they will snarf you. They just took, and that was a fairly close game for a while, but they took Florida's offense apart. They had 6 thrown for lost plays, I think 3 sacks. They do these elaborate blitzes. That doesn't bode well for Arkansas's offense based on what we've seen so far. And they're a really good offensive team, too. So I don't know. And I think people will get discouraged if Arkansas loses that game, but I don't think that's one of the ones you win from here on out. Obviously, you look at Auburn as a possibility, although Auburn's pretty good. I mean, they got hosed in that game. They should have beat Georgia. So they're pretty good, but they're not as good as A&M. And then Mississippi State, that's a game you could win. And LSU is unpredictable. You might be able to win that game. And then Texas, who knows how they're going to play week to week. They look good, then they don't, then they do, then they don't. So there are possibilities, but I think there's maybe a couple of wins there. I'm just not sure which ones they are.
This is fun, isn't it, Mike? I mean, it's the second week of October, and I don't ever remember hearing any of these kind of conversations before in the time that I lived in Arkansas. I mean, because you've usually had the coach, and there's been, should he be fired, should he not be fired? Now it's wild on the frontier right now. The team that was ranked number 5 in the country 2 weeks ago just fired their head coach. What's going on at Arkansas. We're wondering when Florida is going to get rid of their coach. You're going to end up with double-digit openings before you're even in November.
Mm-hmm. And again, the more the openings you have, and obviously the Penn State opening doesn't take away somebody that Arkansas may be looking at, but then here comes Franklin, and he's he's out there. And everybody's now thinking, well, you might be able to get him. I think if you look at his overall record, he's going to get a job, probably a better job than Arkansas. I don't know where that would be, and I don't know what his thinking is. But I just think there's going to be competition out there for anybody that Arkansas looks at and says, wow, we need that guy. And I'm not saying they can't get who they want, but it might be difficult.
You don't always win your first bet. That's why MyBookie has you covered. Use our code HOGS, H-O-G-S, and your first bet up to $500 is fully covered. If your pick doesn't hit, you get it right back with our Bet Back bonus. Go to mybookie.ag and use the code HOGS to claim your Bet Back bonus. MyBookie's where bettors win together, because bragging's good, but cashing in is better. And your first bet is fully covered. Use our code HOGS.
Must opt in during the bet to use the Bet Back bonus.